Is it time to die? If you're here, you're meant to hear this message. We created a piece live on TikTok called The Looking Glass. Within The Looking Glass, we opened a portal and Spirit showed us through symbology what we are going through individually and collectively. Notice the two main characters at 1 o'clock. It is a female and it is Osiris. They are both blue in color. This blue is actually the color of the sun. The sun is white and blue. Scientists say that the sun is white and blue, and this white color is synonymous with alchemy. Alchemy is transforming from lead, the moon, to white, the sun. And this transformational process is going from the head to the heart, or from flesh to spirit. Osiris looks blue here and is speaking into the temple of the female, and out of his mouth is the letter G. This letter G is sacred geometry. It's learning about symbology and becoming psychic. Now, at 12 years old, Osiris began to read a letter. It's like a scroll, and the letter G looks like a scroll. So the number 12 is very significant in the allegory of Osiris. Jesus was 12 when he became powerful. Osiris was 12 when he became powerful. And just like Harry Potter was 12 when he left the Muggles behind. And so when I didn't understand some of the symbologies here, Spirit brought forward a video for you, especially about the scorpion.
After he is born and does his life ministry, he is later betrayed by Judas with a kiss, which we call the backbite of the scorpion in the constellation of Scorpio. Judas betrays him for 30 pieces of silver, but these are really the 30 degrees that Scorpio moves in. He then faces the great scales of justice from Libra, where the state, and Sagittarius, which is the mob, wants to persecute him. At the Last Supper, he drinks from a cup, which some have called the Holy Grail, and this is really the Crater constellation. We see this illustrated in the famous painting for the Last Supper by the great master Leonardo da Vinci, with the 12 signs of the zodiac split into 4 groups of 3 for the triune nature of the sun in its various seasons of the year, like winter, spring, summer, and fall. And to the left of Jesus, which we are told traditionally is supposed to be John, is actually a female. This represents Virgo the Virgin. When we look closer at this picture, notice the Son of God, or the Sun God, Jesus. In the middle, he has 2 fish on his plate representing Pisces. Check out the Trinity of the Sun again with the 3 doors behind him. There's a lot more going on in this picture if you know what to look for. After that, Jesus is crucified with a crown of thorns, or the coronas of the sun, from December 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, which means the sun stays at the same degree for 3 days before being resurrected and coming back to life on the 25th, when the sun starts moving back towards the direction of the northern hemisphere, when he springs back to life at Easter. The winter solstice story has also been encoded into our megalithic sites around the world.
The scorpion isn't just a zodiac sign, it reflects the jinn, the genie, the Gentile. This reflects that we are all born with a jinn or a demon or a Satan or a darkness within us. We are born in the moon, and the goddess of the moon was named Sin. So the scorpion is a talisman that is associated with the jinn, and it teaches us wisdom that we need to get rid of everything old and unnecessary in order to make positive changes in our life, to get rid of obstacles. Now you have the 2 towers in your piece, and these 2 towers have the Seal of Solomon on one and the everlasting flame in the other tower. When I see towers, I see Azkaban. Azkaban in Gematria parallels with prison planet and the number 12. 12 hours, 12 months, 12 zodiac signs, 12 tribes of earth. And Azkaban has the triangle on top. This is the mind. And when the mind cracks open of all that is false, it kind of goes through a really hard time because it is confronted with truth. Now, in the tarot, the tower reflects of course, consciousness. And it is about our consciousness crumbling and embracing the sight of a new paradigm, the divine flame. So in Harry Potter, when Harry was 12, like Osiris, just like Jesus was 12, he left the world of the Muggles, a small house, behind. And the small house is reflective of the moon, sin, shame, ignorance, and narcissism. So notice that the three characters of the Muggle world reflect a triangle. We go to a new triangle, the triangle of the heart, which is the Hermione, the Harry Potter, and the Weasley. This is a perfected human that went from a small house to a mansion of many rooms. This is what Jesus said, my Father's house is a mansion of many rooms. So we grow spiritually, kind of like the golden ratio, or Dorothy that walked the yellow brick road as a spiral to her Emerald City. Now, the triangle going up and the triangle going down is reflective of ascension or descension. That is the seal of Solomon. Now you have this symbol in your piece. It reflects the palm of hand. And these symbols are about awakening. And we have to get into alchemy. We have to get into symbology. You are going to learn from the spirit of wisdom and the spirit of power. And this spirit of power is going to teach you about symbology. This is why this triad symbol is the symbol of the sun and the crown. And what is the crown? The crown is becoming the perfected human, the king and the queen, the balance between mind and body, moon and sun, body and spirit. This is your nose. Your nose looks like this symbol. This reflects to learn. So you are going to be learning this. You're going to be learning keys of Solomon. You have the key of Solomon. You have the chalice in your piece. The chalice is one of the keys of Solomon. So the tower, the key, and the chalice are all part of the Templar temple of the keys of Solomon. Mary, Mother Mary, is holding a crown in one hand, and in the other hand is dumping a chalice into your mouth. And in the mouth is the sun. You're swallowing the sun and eating the sun. This is a very positive symbology in the piece, and this is the womb of Newt. It's about eating enlightenment. This is the flame within the tower, the everlasting flame or spark that's going to spark you from one world to the other. It's like a dual reality. And you have this symbol in your piece too. This is the comedy and the tragedy. And they tell you that all it means is just actors on a stage, and that's not true. The Divine Comedy actually reflects the Carnival. The Carnival was always celebrated on 11/11. It is a dual reality. It is the opposites. It's your twin flame, and it's a marriage of flesh to spirit. It's escaping Azkaban, a prison, like an elephant being stuck in a carnival and its memory erased. It's finally remembering who it is and how powerful it is and going to a place of power. The person that holds the chalice is God's servant, and it's someone who has turned away from evil. And what is evil? It's just false thoughts of self, living in a matrix of separatism and self-importance and shame and ignorance. Now you have the Dog Star, Sirius B, the Dog Star. This is the second coming of the sun. And Sirius Black, the dog, is a allegory of Sirius B, the Dog Star, the second coming of the sun. And so your piece is reflective of you turning away from things that are false. The man on your head is driving your mind. These are false thoughts of self. The mask on your hat is the mask of self that is false. You are looking down. You are dipping down into your heart. You have the 3 candles of the everlasting flame. The 3 candles are the number 3 of the sun. And you are going to battle the demon within you that is all things that are false. And you're going to forgive, surrender, and let go. You're going to eat the sun and become balanced between the moon and the sun. The fact that Osiris is the one who came to you, not the Christ, is very significant to me. You have some Egyptian connection in your blood or your spirit. Notice the number 8 and the dragon at 9 o'clock. This reflects everlasting life. And I want you to know that dying is not what I wanted to talk about, really. The truth of the matter is in the Gospel of Philip, it says, it is incorrect that Jesus died and resurrected. It's more correct to say that Jesus resurrected and then died. If we feel depressed or suicidal, we need to go ahead and die before we die. To die before we die is simply surrendering, letting go, closing our eyes, and allowing our pineal gland to dip down into our heart, the true baptism of going down into the body, which is 75% water, activating it with living waters that pour from the heart chakra, and becoming alive, leaving behind the energy of death, which is the moon, and living through the balance of the sun. There are people standing on the second tower at 9 o'clock ready and waiting for you. When you bounce from the old world, the new world will give you a new family and new friends and new joy in your heart.